They built it for him. And now, according to multiple reports circulating this week, the very board that runs the Invictus games is quietly asking one question out loud: does Prince Harry still belong at the top of it? Commentators are claiming he did not take that well. Not well at all. One royal watcher put it bluntly. Stay with me, because the way this reportedly unfolded, behind closed doors, at 3 in the afternoon, with Meghan nowhere to be seen, is messier than anything the Sussex camp wanted you to hear. In the next few minutes I'm going to walk you through exactly what the board is said to be demanding, why insiders claim Harry lost it, and what it could mean for the one project he calls his legacy. If you're tired of the Sussex spin, do me a favor, tap subscribe and hit the bell. We cover the fallout here every single day. Let's get into it. First, the setup. The Invictus Games, the sporting event for wounded veterans, has always been the crown jewel of Prince Harry's post-royal life. It's the thing his supporters point to, and honestly, the thing even his critics admit started from a genuinely good place. But here's what changed. Over the past year, reports suggest the tension between Harry and the people who actually run the day-to-day of the foundation has been building. Governance, they call it. Boring word. Explosive consequences. Because when commentators talk about a board demanding his removal, what they are describing, allegedly, is a slow, deliberate move to reduce the role of the man whose name is on the door. Now, is that confirmed by Harry himself? No. Everything you're hearing is attributed to reports and to royal commentators. But the pattern they describe is consistent, and it lines up with something Tom Bower and others have hinted at for months, that Harry, without the machinery of the palace behind him, struggles when other people want to say. And let's be precise about what removal even means in this context, because the headlines are louder than the substance. Nobody is claiming, as far as the reports go, that Harry is being kicked out of the building tomorrow. What commentators are describing is subtler and, honestly, more damaging in the long run. A board that wants more oversight, more control of spending, more of a say in direction, and a founder who reportedly sees any of that as a threat to the one thing he still owns. That's the friction. Not a single dramatic vote, but a slow tug of war over who really runs the thing with his name on it. And think about the timing. This is surfacing in the same stretch where reports have Harry back in the UK, where his security battle has dominated the headlines, where every royal watcher is already primed to read the worst into any Sussex story. So a governance dispute that might have stayed private in a calmer week has instead exploded into the board wants Harry out. That's the media environment he's operating in now, and, critics argue, one he helped create. It's how he reportedly reacted to it. To understand why this stings, you have to understand what Invictus means to him. When Harry left the working royal family, he lost almost everything that gave him a public identity: the patronages, the military appointments, the titles that came with duties. Invictus was the one thing that was his. Supporters will tell you he poured himself into it. Critics will tell you he needed it badly to prove the exit was worth it. Both things can be true, and that's exactly why, according to commentators, any suggestion that he should step back from the leadership of it lands like a personal attack rather than a business decision. One royal analyst framed it this way, and I'm quoting the claim, not stating it as fact: take Invictus away from Harry and you take away the last thing that makes him Prince Harry and not just Mr. Sussex of Montecito. Harsh, maybe, but you can see why the reported demand would hit a nerve. And here's a point the supporters make, fairly, that I want you to hear. Invictus genuinely has done good. Real veterans, real recovery, real moments that had nothing to do with tabloids or Netflix deals. That's not in dispute, and this channel isn't going to pretend it is, which is exactly what makes the current story so combustible, because if the good work is real, then a fight over control isn't a small thing. It's a fight over whether the thing Harry is proudest of is being run for the veterans or for the brand. And depending on which royal commentator you follow, you'll hear that framed either way. There's also a harder question buzzing underneath the reports, and it's the one critics keep circling. When you strip away a working royal's titles, patronages, and duties, which is what happened when Harry stepped back, how much of the prince is left? Invictus became the answer to that question. It was proof of relevance. So a challenge to his leadership of it isn't just organizational. To hear the commentators tell it, it's existential. That's why a story that on paper is about board governance is being narrated everywhere like a personal crisis. The stakes, emotionally, are enormous, even if the paperwork is dry. Change. They describe what happened in the room. According to the accounts being shared by royal commentators this week, the friction reportedly came to a head in a meeting where the board raised concerns about direction, spending, and, this is the word that keeps coming up, control. Now, again, this is reported and attributed. Nobody has produced a transcript, but the version being repeated across the commentary space is that Harry reacted less like a chairman hearing feedback and more like a prince being told no, something critics claim he has never handled well. And that's the through line the anti-Sussex commentators love, isn't it? The idea that the same pattern that reportedly played out inside the palace, the sense that rules and pushback are personal betrayals, is now playing out in the one organization he built from scratch. Whether you buy that reading or not, the fact that so many royal watchers are telling the same story is why this is trending. When Lady C, when the tabloid columnists, when the YouTube commentary world all land on the same beat in the same week, that's usually a sign something real is moving underneath. But I owe you the skeptical read too, because that's the whole point of this channel. Consistency in the commentary world doesn't always mean consistency in the facts. Sometimes it just means everyone is quoting the same original report, and if that first report was thin, the echo doesn't make it thicker. So when I say commentators claim Harry reacted badly, hold that lightly. It could be an accurate read of a real blow-up. It could also be a dramatic gloss on what was, in reality, a tense but ordinary board disagreement that happens in every organization on Earth. We don't have the tape. Anyone who tells you they know exactly what was said in that room is guessing. Confidently, maybe entertainingly, but guessing. What's not a guess is the trajectory. A year ago, a story like this would have been framed sympathetically: Harry defends his veterans charity from meddling. Today it's framed as Harry loses it. Same man, same charity, opposite spin. And that flip in tone is the single most revealing thing in this entire saga, because it tells you the ground has shifted under his feet regardless of what happened in any one meeting. Harry's. The phrase that's been repeated the most is that Harry took it personally. Commentators claim he saw the board's move not as governance, but as the establishment coming for him again. And here's the emotional core of the whole story, the part that makes people click and stay. The reported irony that the people questioning him this time aren't the palace, aren't his father, aren't his brother. They are people he helped bring in, his own house, so to speak. Critics are having a field day with that. One widely shared comment put it like this: he spent years saying the institution silenced him. Now the institution he built is telling him the same thing. You don't have to agree with it, but you can feel why it's landing. Let me pause here, because I want to hear from you. Drop a comment. Do you think the board is right to want change? Or is this the establishment coming for Harry all over again? I read these, and the best comment is going in the next video. And of course, you can't tell a Sussex story without the question everyone's asking: where is Meghan in all this? According to the commentary, Meghan has reportedly kept her distance from the Invictus turmoil, and that itself has become part of the story. Critics claim her absence speaks volumes. Supporters would say she's simply staying out of Harry's lane. Reports even suggest she skipped an event tied to the games, which the anti-Sussex commentators immediately framed as her checking out when things get hard. Is that fair? Honestly, you decide. What's undeniable is that in the narrative being pushed this week, Meghan's silence is being read as loudly as Harry's alleged outburst. And that tells you everything about how the public mood has shifted. And notice the trap she's reportedly in, because it's a real one, and it's worth naming. If Meghan steps in and defends Harry publicly, the critics say she's controlling him, that she can't let him have one thing of his own. If she stays out of it, the same critics say she's abandoning him the moment it gets hard. There's no move that the anti-Sussex commentary won't spin against her. That doesn't make her sympathetic to this audience, but it does show you how locked in the narrative has become. Once public opinion tilts, every choice gets read through the same lens. Supporters will call that unfair. Critics will call it earned. Either way, it's the environment the Sussexes now live in, and it's not one they can PR their way out of quickly. Here's the thing to sit with. The Invictus story and the Meghan silence story are feeding each other. The board dispute makes Harry look isolated. Meghan's distance makes him look more isolated. And the more isolated he looks, the more every report gets framed as the walls closing in. That's a narrative snowball. And snowballs are very hard to stop once the audience wants them to keep rolling. Here's the bottom line, based on everything being reported. If the accounts are accurate, Prince Harry is facing something he has almost never faced in public. An institution pushing back that he can't dismiss as the palace or the press. And the commentators claim his reaction has only convinced the board they were right to raise concerns in the first place. Best case for Harry, this blows over, the reports get walked back, and he keeps the role that defines him. Worst case, according to the more dramatic voices in this space, he ends up sidelined from his own legacy, the ultimate fallout for a man who left one institution only to reportedly clash with the next. I'll say it plainly, we don't know how it ends. Nobody commenting on this, including me, has the sealed minutes of that meeting. What we have is a remarkably consistent story from people who follow this closely, and a public that increasingly expects the worst from Montecito. So here's where I land. Whether Harry lost it or simply pushed back, the mood around him has changed, and even his defenders are quieter than they used to be. That, more than any single meeting, is the real headline. Tell me your verdict in the comments. Is the board out of line, or is this Harry's own pattern catching up with him? If this is the kind of no-spin royal coverage you want, subscribe and turn on the bell. We're here every single day breaking down the fallout. And stick around, because in the next one, we're getting into the report that Samantha Markle just reignited the feud with her sister, and what Lady C is saying about it. You won't want to miss that one. Rehook a CADA 4 minutes tick. Open loops M CADA beat tick. Payoff no climax tick.